additions, corrections, alterations, updates? If not, I'd ask for approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we're ready for public comment. So,
Oh, sounds good. Do I come sit here?
yes, please, if you come to the table, and I know you signed in, but I don't have that in front of me, so I'm going to ask you for
bring
your
it to you?
name and address.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Leah Press. My address is 14 Cornfield Lane in Woodbridge. So I've been a resident for over 14 years, volunteering at the Woodbridge Animal Shelter. I've volunteered for over 30 years at numerous animal shelters to include 5 different states. I strongly encourage you to vote yes to the police department overseeing the animal shelter for the following reasons. The necessity of infection control cannot be overstated. By implementing comprehensive infection control measures, shelters protect the health of both the animals they care for, the staff, and volunteers working in those environments. Proper sanitation, vaccination, quarantine, and disease monitoring are crucial in preventing the spread of diseases and ensuring the animals are safely cared for until they find their forever homes. Effective infection control practices are not only essential for the physical health of the shelter population, but also for maintaining the integrity and trustworthiness of the shelter as a safe haven for animals in need. But let me enlighten you. In the last year, the animal shelter was closed for 5 weeks for an infectious outbreak. On a separate occasion, another infectious outbreak occurred in the cat room, causing that to be closed. Sad to say, animals were euthanized. Integrating animal control with the police department is a logical and effective approach to improving public safety, coordination, and enforcement in animal-related incidents. The police department's expertise in handling high-risk situations, access to resources, and ability to enhance criminal laws ensure that the animal control can be carried out with greater efficiency and consistency. Given the increasing intersection between animal welfare and public safety, it's time to recognize that the management of animal-related issues should be treated with the same priority and professionalism as other law enforcement matters. To not do so sets us up for potential liability to the town. By overseeing animal control, the police department can create a safer, more organized approach to protecting both people and animals in the community. I welcome any comments or questions.
Well stated. Very well stated.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Laura Torrance, 17 Burn Court in Woodbridge. I've been a resident since 1998 and a volunteer at the shelter since 2012. And it is with great respect of this commission and the commissioners for all your hard work serving our town, and I thank you. And that I wish to address you this evening about my concerns regarding Woodbridge Regional Animal Control. And bringing to your attention the issues, and I'm sorry I'm reading, but I think I have it memorized, but I don't. The issues facing our town and one of our major departments. Regional animal control needs oversight and management. That can only come from becoming part of the police department or a division of it. With the supervision and expertise of Deputy Chief Smith, using his many years of knowledge about procedure, training, protocol, with this complicated and often difficult area of the law where safety and animal suffering go hand in hand. Police officers are experts in law enforcement, state and town regulations, proper paperwork, procedure. All of these are either non-existent or very poorly executed at this time. Animal control needs oversight and leadership to succeed and become a professional and valued part of our community and the communities it serves. The infrastructure that once existed between the community, the town, and animal control has vanished, along with the once very vibrant volunteers who donated so generously of their time while raising funds and giving. No shelter can thrive without them. It also affects the quality of the shelter animals' lives. Without up-to-date protocol for trapping and handling of animals, it puts all at risk. Proper communication between the officers and personnel and understanding proper documentation is essential and dangerous if ignored. Earning the trust of the communities it serves, as well as the respect and building relationships and educating and helping the public, welcoming them into a safe place where they can seek assistance with animal issues. For many years, the shelter was left to make its own rules and run more like a rescue and not an organized, efficient department. With no goals or sense of budget or expenses or expectations for any future growth. The facility lacks regular hours of access to the public, as well as often being closed. The posted hours are 10 to 3, so when people who are seeking help, it's important that they can receive it. This is due, I feel, in part by poor time management, no understanding or leadership, running a department that serves the public but not really realizing that the public comes first along with the animals' welfare. Knowing how to prioritize duties and how to make referrals with animals that are not covered by the shelter. The shelter needs a well-trained professionals who put the needs and safety of the animals and the public before its ego and recognition. Please vote yes and put the future of animal control in the hands of knowledgeable and organized people who can effect a change for success and growth to the future. And I thank you all for your attention on this matter that I feel is very important.
Could I ask a question? Because I'm not deeply familiar with the day-to-day affairs of animal control, so if you could educate us. It definitely sounds from these two presentations like there's a perception that police supervision involvement would really be value added for animal control.
I think it would be, I think without it, it is going to end up failing.
And so my question is in part, what are the areas in which the police becoming the supervisory agency do the value added? Is it with respect to difficult issues with the animals themselves? Is it with respect to the owners of the animals and difficulties encountered there? Or is it with respect to management of animal control and the need for someone from the police department to be in a managerial role? What would you say is the...
I think that the shelter has no leadership. We had a previous administration that was a senior person with a lot of experience. She and I raised a lot of money for the animal shelter, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it was ignored that maybe it wasn't being run exactly by the rules, but she had a very good sense of the community, the woman who ran it. Although difficult at times, she knew the community. She grew up here. She tried to help people that needed the help without giving them tickets or going after them. I don't pretend to know the rules and regulations as the deputy chief does, since he ran the control at Hamden. However, observing it and seeing the change just in the last 8-9 months since the new administration, the new people are there, the inexperience, the wasted hours, I feel that a department that has rules and regulations is needed, the oversight is needed, because an easy example would be we have veterinary appointments. They shouldn't be done in the middle of the day unless it's an emergency. So the public is not, the shelter's not open to the public. The shelter's closed a great deal of the time. A lot of time, and volunteerism brings in adoptions, it brings in money, it brings in interest from many, many years. We had fundraisers that had the public come in, the local businesses. People felt like it was a community spot where they could come in. Even if it was to say hello, we put in a garden last year that has benches. There used to be a time when the seniors that live over on Bradley Road, even though it's sort of a dangerous crosswalk, they would come over and sit and look at the animals. Now we have a garden, we have benches, they're welcome. We have people that walk in the plaza in the back off of where the shelter is. We do have a little bit of an issue with the traffic because the business next door has big trucks coming and going. If the police presence were there, I think that the trucks might slow down. But during lunch, we'd have a lot of people walk, look at the animals. Every set of eyes is 10 people that they'll say, I saw a dog, I saw a cat, I saw a bunny. It promotes adoptions, it promotes interest in the community, it makes people feel welcome. Many of the times people come in, it's a sad situation, they can't keep an animal. If they are turned away or not greeted in a proper protocol, they dump the animal. Fountain Street is a well of dogs and cats hit by cars, dumped off, and other areas, but I think it's the lack of professionalism, the not being watched. I don't know that there are any other departments in our city that have no oversight. So it would be as if a secretary was going out to get a pile of paper and then she could stop and have lunch and visit her friends and go have coffee and no one knows where she is or what she's doing. And the dangerous part that I feel for the actual employees there is that they go off on calls into situations that no one knows where they are. So they could go into a home that's potentially dangerous, that there could be a domestic dispute as well as an animal problem. And no one knows if they've gone, it's written in a book on paper, it's not on the computer. I feel that our police department, which I'm very proud of, are highly organized and know where everyone is and what they're doing. I don't think it needs to be micromanaged to the minute, but I think that with no oversight and inexperienced people and really no paperwork. The paperwork hasn't been updated since I've been there. I think the forms were made up by the former people that worked there.
Laura, I'm gonna cut you off. I think we got the picture on some of your recommendations.
Thank you.
And
Okay,
we
so
appreciate
anyway.
that.
Yeah.
I do think we would really thrive and we could get the interest in the public back. So,
Thank you.
If I
Thank you
could
very
just,
No,
just,
I'm sorry. but
60
in-
seconds.
Generally,
Oh.
generally we hear people's comments, we generally don't engage in responses and
Okay.
dialogue, et cetera. But I see we have somebody else who's here for public comment or not?
Traffic Commission. We're here for the traffic.
Traffic Commission, okay, so Traffic Commission comes after this?
Yep.
And it will be probably close to an hour before that starts.
okay, so-
Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Going back to public comment and correspondence, Janice, was there any other written correspondence or anything for us to address?
No, there's
Yep.
not. Thank you.
We've gotten through public comment. Actually, our agenda does now have us going into executive session, so I'm going to actually ask the cameras to be turned off. Of our executive session, and we are back in the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners in Woodbridge. There were no votes taken during the executive session. However, now that we are back in the regular meeting, there are some recommendations. First, I'd like to see about offering a position of dispatch to Shanice Smith, who we just interviewed, or has previously been interviewed by Personnel Committee here, as well as, of course, police staff. And the recommendation of the Board of Commissioners is to extend an offer of hire to Shanice Smith.
We need a motion.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So that's our personnel, our most immediate personnel action, yes? Second recommendation that we'd like to make is to recommend that the police department is not able to, at this time, take on a responsibility for animal control. However, we believe strongly that a task force to include 2 police commissioners, Vice Chair Andy Esposito and Chris Wusterfeld, along with Deputy Chief Ron Smith and the Administrative Officer Tony Genovese, shall be convened as the guiding group to identify all of the issues that are going to be necessary for there to be a successful transition to ultimately have the police department be the responsible overseer for animal control.
I second that.
All in, second?
I second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Do we have any other recommendations coming out of the executive committee meeting? Those are our 2 active actions. Okay. Thank you all very much for all of that. Let's do review of reports. Frank, Ron, financial
First one.
report.
The financial report. So currently we're 8 months into the fiscal budget, just over 8 months. We're at 65%, as you can see on your printouts there. And we remain on target for where we should be at this time. Most of the funding lines that I mentioned last month remain challenging, just as they have for the past few months. But we're still within where we should be. That's all I have for the financial report.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And moving on to the activity report on the criminal side of that. Amongst the incidents listed in your statistical report, some special incidents, some incidents of special interest that occurred last month. Pretty much we had, the larcenies and attempted larcenies from vehicles. They occurred overnight hours on residential driveways on Old Still, Lorraine Drive, and in a commercial lot on Selden Street. And during the daytime hours, a vehicle parked at one of the businesses on Amity Road. And we had 2 stolen motor vehicles. One was an attempted theft of the vehicle that occurred at a Racebrook Road residence, and also a vehicle was parked on Forest Glen Drive during the evening hours, and that was recovered the next day in one of our neighboring communities. Some criminal arrests made by our personnel during the past month. On the 8th, we served a criminal arrest warrant on a person regarding evading responsibility as a result of a motor vehicle accident, which he fled, an accident that occurred in January of this year. And then on the 21st, they served criminal arrest warrants on a gentleman that was stealing off the porches on the Lucy Street area. He was a homeless gentleman. He had several outstanding warrants, and that was all processed accordingly. And just for the ISU report, Investigative Services Unit assumed 7 new investigations during the month of February, including 2 background checks for the new recruit officer applicants. And they're also involved in a dispatcher candidates position interviews and pre-employment vetting process. They conducted 6 fingerprinting requests and performed 4 pistol permit application background checks. And some of their new cases they took on included assisting patrol with the recovery of items from a vehicle that was stolen at Route 63 business. And they recovered that file in New Haven while working with the stolen vehicle task force. They have a sexual assault investigation that they took on. That's ongoing. They worked with the Department of Revenue Services and the Consumer Protection at a compliance check at a local business down the business area there. And they were working on a fraud with one of the local banking institutions regarding an investigation out of Newport, Rhode Island, involving a bunch of checks that have been stolen and washed, and one found its way to our town. And that's about all for the criminal activity report, and the deputy could fill in a little bit on the traffic activity for the last month.
With regards to motor vehicle, Woodbridge police officers made 60 motor vehicle stops in the month, which is an 18% decrease from January. Officers conducted radar speed enforcement on 245 different occasions and deterrent traffic safety patrols on 243 occasions. There were 24 motor vehicle accidents during the month of month of February, which is a 37% decrease from January's numbers. Of those 24 motor vehicle accidents, 23 were no injuries, 1 there were injuries. Our speed trailer was put on or deployed on Newton Road and Meeting House Lane. And that's it for traffic.
Any questions for the chief or deputy?
No.
I'll take a motion to
Motion.
approve the activity report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now moving on to chief's report.
They have several different things to update you on. The first one is the building update. So as you're all aware, over the past few weeks, testing performed by an environmental consulting firm hired by the town determined that there is an asbestos issue in various areas throughout the center building, including here at the PD. At this point, various environmental consultants, experts from Yale University, Occupational Environmental Medicine, and various advisory and regulatory agencies, including Quinnipiac Valley Health, the Connecticut Department of Public Health, and the Connecticut OSHA, have all been involved in assessing the situation and determining how it should be handled as we move forward. From the onset and up to right up to this afternoon, we've received assurance from town administration and from the experts, and the first selectman has also met in person and shared the same with our staff, that based upon their consultation with all those involved that I just mentioned, the police facility remains safe and that there's no health risk to our employees, that the areas in our facility that tested positive for asbestos have been isolated, and that there was then and there currently now remains no reason for us to relocate. Additionally, further testing was to be done in a plan by the town to address and remedy the asbestos issue is being devised. On March 4th, the first selectman did come here with the environmental consultant, and they did meet with our personnel to review their findings and associated recommendations and answer any questions they have. And again today, personnel from Yale OEM and the Fussell O'Neill environmental firm that was retained by the town, they were here just a few hours ago, as some of you on the board were present and are aware of, and they met with our personnel and answered questions. So as we heard this afternoon, the logistics associated with the abatement process for our facility are being coordinated, and I'm hopeful that the abatement process gets started quickly so that we can move forward in remedying the situation. The next thing I had to share was...
So on that, just a couple of things I wanted to point out. Commissioners, you'll note that in the packet of materials that you got today include all the reports, and I encourage you to take a look at them. I appreciate Commissioner Westerfeld and Commissioner Fayette Desir coming to the 3 o'clock meeting today to hear the presentation by the folks at Yale and the vendor, environmental vendor. Sorry. It should be noted that although we don't have a date for when this will happen, that we did get an assurance that it was in a matter of days or weeks as opposed to a period beyond that, and that the police department would be at the head of the start to do that. Other things that caught my interest were the reassurance that the work would be done, the remediation work would be done after hours so as not to interfere with the functioning of the department. Of course, the reinforcement, as the chief stated, about the safety of being in the building currently. And yeah, I think those are the important take-home messages for that one. Does anybody on the commission have either comment or question about the asbestos issue? No. Okay. Sorry, Chief.
No, I concur with you. The sooner the abatement is done, the better off we're all gonna be. They have to get in here and get it done quickly.
So, just to be clear, all testing of the air has been negative. Negative in this instance being good.
Yes, exactly, yes. Thank you.
Okay, the next item I had was the DEA National Prescription Drug Take-Back Initiative. That's going to be held on Saturday, April 26th, as we've done in the past. We'll be teaming up with the DEA for another nationwide one-day prescription drug take-back. Our event this year will be in partnership with Woodbridge Human Services and conducted during the town's Earth Day event. The initiative will give our residents the opportunity to turn in unwanted, expired, or unused controlled substances, and at the same time reduce any potential source of supply for the increasing abuse of pharmaceuticals that's occurring across the country. So that'll be upcoming.
And Chief, for many years, families really had to wait for the National Take-Back Day. Here in Woodbridge, the department had the foresight to install the in-residence
Prescription drop box.
drop box. Thank you for that, was the word I was looking for. But while we sort of work with others and make it highly visible on Earth Day, I would only urge us to think about ways that we continue to make the public aware that we really have this, unlike so many other communities, available for their convenience and for their safety, essentially year-round.
Okay.
Thank you.
An update on the status of our union contract negotiations. So the police officers' collective bargaining agreement contract remains under negotiation. I just want to update the board, for those that didn't know, that the scheduled dates for binding arbitration, if needed, are set for April 17th and 18th. And then we have the Connecticut Distracted Driving High Visibility Enforcement Grant. Our municipality was offered to participate in an upcoming distracted driving enforcement campaign. It's being funded through a grant in association with the National Highway Safety Administration. A total of $25,000 was allocated to our agency. to cover the cost of overtime assignments during the enforcement details, and it involves no match contribution on behalf of the town, so it's, well, the money awarded will be, provide 100% reimbursement to those officers participating in the details. Deputy Chief is overseeing the administration of the grant, and once it's processed and approved and we get the final word on it, we anticipate partaking in those details on various times throughout the month of April. And the final thing I have was regards to our grooming policy. So I just want to make the board aware that shortly you might be seeing a change in the appearance of our personnel, as it's my intention to modify the current standards of our departmental general order as it pertains to grooming and appearance to allow our personnel the option to grow beards, where up to this point only mustaches have been allowed. Doing so bring our standards into alignment with what many of the police agencies around us have already done. It's something that the staff has been asking for, and doing so can only assist with our recruitment efforts as well. The policy will require that the beard does not exceed the prescribed length so that it does not interfere with the proper wearing of a gas mask or a respirator, and also mandates that it be kept neatly trimmed to conform to a professional appearance. So that might be something to be noticed as we move forward. And that's all I have under reports of the chief.
If there are no questions for the chief, I seek a motion to approve
Move
the
it.
chief. All in favor?
Thank you.
Great. Personnel matters.
Okay, the first item I have on the personnel is a notice of retirement. And, congratulations to Janice, who has officially notified me of her intent to retire effective June 30th of this year. As you all know, Janice has been a truly dedicated and loyal employee and a friend to all of us, all the current board, all the boards prior, and all the administration prior to the deputy and myself. In her capacity as our administrative assistant for close to 25 years now, she's been a critical, integral part of our daily operations, and as we all know, she possesses a wealth of institutional knowledge that's going to be very hard for us to replace. Although she has a few months to go, personally on behalf of all of us at the police department, I commend Janice for her many years of exemplary and dedicated service, and wish her many years of health and happiness in her next chapter during retirement when we get there in a few months. But moving forward, her vacancy leaves us with big shoes to fill, as you all know, so it's important that we commence the search for her replacement sooner than later, like immediately, and get the person in place so that we have a successful and efficient transition for the new person upon Janice's retirement. I've been in discussion with the finance director as well on getting that started, so just want to wait until after our meeting tonight to formally notify the board of such. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Janice.
Thank you all.
Tell you what, we're gonna miss you.
We miss you a whole lot, Dennis. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
Very much.
Might have to take us with you.
Do we have plans for some kind of recognition or party, or you don't do that stuff?
We have 3 months to.
Okay,
Maybe you don't, but we do.
there you go.
Just an update on our extended absences. So we currently have 2 officers out of work due to work-related injuries. We continue with the 1 officer who, as previously reported, has been out since November of 2023 on a workman's comp-related injury. His return to work continues to remain uncertain pending further medical evaluations, insurance compensation, and the town attorney and the workers' comp insurance companies are addressing that currently, and have been and currently are. And more recently, we had another officer injured unfortunately in an on-duty motor vehicle accident that occurred on February 16th when his vehicle was rear-ended on Route 67. The patrol vehicle, just so you know, is out of service with extensive repairs, but we're grateful his injuries weren't any worse than they were, but he'll be out of work at least through March 31st at this point as he recuperates. And those are current absences. And just the vacancies, as previously reported, we continue to operate with the 3 remaining patrol vacancies that we are attempting to fill. We have a small amount of applicants. We've been vetting them and doing initial background checks on. We're continuing with the CPCA and the South Central Criminal Justice testing processes, but unfortunately last month's South Central's exam only yielded single digits in the number of applicants who successfully passed the first phases of that. Some of those are still pending physical agility testing, so once we get their results, we may have some more candidates coming from that testing process, and as we get any candidates, viable candidates, we'll bring them forth to the subcommittee for consideration. And that's all I have in the personnel.
We don't need approval on that.
No, we're good. Thank
Any
you.
further questions for the chief on any personnel issues? Lastly then, any budget update? Chief?
So just as you know, on January 23rd, we presented the proposed fiscal year 25 capital operating budgets to the boards of selectmen and finance. Since then, the Board of Selectmen has reviewed the various budgets and made their recommendations to the Board of Finance with any adjustments that the selectmen felt would be appropriate. There are several adjustments made in our budgets, but the most impactful adjustments made included, once again, eliminating our funding request for 1 additional police officer and also for 1 of 2 requested new patrol vehicles. So as to the additional officer, was conveyed that the Board of Selectmen felt our request was justified because we already have 3 current vacancies that we've been, that we're attempting to, but have so far been unable to fill. They felt it would be best to wait and not include this additional funding in the current budget at this time. Moving forward, the Board of Finance will be meeting this month for further review of the budgets and the budgets recommended to them by the Board of Selectmen, and then they're preparing their recommended budget that will be presented at the preliminary budget hearing scheduled for April 24th at 7:30. That'll be forthcoming. And that's all I have on the budget.
So it's disappointing to hear about eliminating the requested FTE and the vehicle, but in some sense understandable. Do we have any sense, Chief, that if in fact we are able to miraculously fill the 3 open positions, that given that they are supportive and understanding that we need more personnel, that they might be able to do budget transfers to in fact allow us to hire a 4th person this year? I know that's a stretch to get there, but...
That's the sense I got after speaking to the
Good.
finance director. He said that once we get those filled, they'll address it.
So again, to the conversation of what are the best ways we can help support the department in the recruitment process. As the challenge we all have and the conversation we've been having. Anything else on the budget? Questions, commissioners? No? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn the motion. Second? All in favor? So we leave the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners, and now we're in Traffic Authority at 8:26. Oh my goodness. The roads are closed. People we had for public comment have agreed to give a call and express by telephone their comments and concerns. But I see there are a couple of quick traffic matters they'd like to update us with, Chief.
Yeah, so the first one is in regards to Bethwood Baseball Opening Day events, and that'll be on Saturday, May 3rd. Bethwood Baseball League will be holding its annual opening day ceremonies as they traditionally do on the town green. They plan to start setting up around 8 a.m. They wrap things up usually around 1 in the afternoon. And customarily, they'll be closing Meeting House Lane for pedestrian safety from Center Road to the area of the library. During that time, same as they've done in years past without incident. So we just need the approval of the legal traffic authority for that road closure.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? So, do we need to approve anything about the road race?
Yeah, so that's the last item I had was the annual Woodbridge Road Race. So the Woodbridge Recreation Department will be holding its 43rd annual road race on Saturday, October 1st, from approximately 8 a.m. to 12 noon. It's the usual route, Newton Road to Burn Swamp, Amity, and back down North Pease to Rice to Center Road. It's always well-staffed and marked with signs and cones for safety concerns, and we'll dedicate personnel to assist at main intersections as needed. The Recreation Department is seeking permission of the Traffic Authority to hold the race, and once they receive your permission, they'll be able to move forward with the State Department of Transportation Highway Usage Permit.
So motion.
Second? Thank you. All in favor?
Okay, thank you all.
Hey, have a good road race. Thank you all very much for your extended stay this evening and robust conversation. We've got a lot of work to do.
And motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Good night all.
Good night.